Alright, Richie here with your stat attack up for you. Just a bunch of random streaks going on. Dwayne Haskins, quarterback for Ohio State, set a Big Ten record. He's got 41 passing touchdowns this year, and they still have games to go. The Texas A&M LSU game, if anybody saw that, 7 overtimes, ties the longest in NCAA history. Highest scoring game in FBS history. As Texas A&M won 74-72. The 74 points are also the most ever given up by a ranked team. Boise State, Brett Rypien, he's 15th all time in NCAA history in passing yards. He set a Mountain West record with his 21st 300-yard passing game of the year in his career. Georgia Southern, right now the NCAA record for fewest turnovers committed in season is 8, and that was 6 different teams that tied it. Right now, Georgia Southern has only turned it over 5 times, and they only have 1 more game to go. So, right now, they are about to set the NCAA record. That's a good stat. Fortunately for UConn, this is a stat in futility. Statistically, the worst defense in NCAA history. Most points given up, 605. Most yards given up, 7,409. Highest point per game given up, 50.41, and yards per game given up 617.4. They're just doing that stuff terribly. UCF won 24 in a row, tied NCAA record with 30 more points, 24 straight games. They forced a turnover, I think, in 29 straight. And those are some of the cool stats for that. So, looking at the bowl teams, it's pretty much most of the bowl teams are clinched. There's one more left, which I'll talk about now, but I'm going to shout out Tulane. They got bowl eligible. Wake Forest, TCU, Baylor, Purdue. Tulane, Wake Forest, TCU, Baylor, Purdue, Southern Miss got bowl eligible. Miami of Ohio got bowl eligible. Wyoming, Vanderbilt, and Minnesota all got bowl eligible. There's actually one game left next week that could determine bowl eligibility. Virginia Tech, they're 5-6. They're taking on Marshall, who's actually a really good team, 8-3 team that very well could beat Virginia Tech. And they were supposed to play earlier in the year. It got canceled because of the hurricanes, but they actually are making that up. So if Virginia Tech wins, they should go to a bowl for like a 26, 27th straight season, which would be the longest active streak because Florida State is now out, which that's another streak too that ended. They'd gone 36 years in a row to a bowl, 41 straight winning seasons, all done. They're 5-7, not going anywhere. So Virginia Tech has a really good shot. I'm actually pretty interested in that game. I almost want to go for Marshall in the upset because it'd be kind of a bit of an upset. But I actually picked Virginia Tech in that. So our stat attack stuff, I'll just, what I normally do. The top guys, I'm not going to do the closest to 1,000 or 2,000 yet. I'll do that. I'll save that final for all the bowls. See who's closest within 200 there. So, but I will just say that, the nation's leaders for all these stats like I have been all year. Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin, he's got 1,989 yards. So in the bowl game, he'll break 2,000 yards rushing, which will be the 24th in NCAA history, I think. I have to, I have it all written down actually here. I was like a stat junkie with writing and stuff, so let's see, where is that? So there's been 30 2,000 yard rushers. So the next carry, Jonathan Taylor should get over 2,000 there. Darrell Henderson actually has a shot too. He's got 1,699, and they have the conference championship game and their bowl game left. So he only needs 301 rushing yards, and to be honest, he's good enough to do that in one game. So he very well could be the 32nd 2,000 yard rusher in history there. But Jonathan Taylor is leading it, 1,989. Devin Singletary leads the nation with 22 rushing touchdowns. Unfortunately, he's not going to add to it. They're not going to make a bowl. So Henderson's number 2 at 19, tied with Travis Etienne at 19. So they very well could surpass him. Gardner Minshew right now leads the nation with 4,477 passing yards, and they got a bowl game left. So he could get to 5,000. That'd be awesome. And Dwayne Haskins right now at Ohio State leads the nation with 41 touchdown passes. He's 4 above the second place guys. Will Grier and Kyler Murray both had 37. Andy Isabella, his season was done a couple weeks ago. He leads the nation with 1,698 receiving yards. Purdue, actually, Rondale Moore has surpassed him. Now has 103 receptions. So Rondale Moore is number 1 in the nation in terms of receptions. John Rousseau at Hawaii, he leads the nation with 16 touchdown receptions. But David Sills V, West Virginia, he's got 15 after 18 last year, and they have a bowl game left. So he very well could at least tie him, if not pass him. So this is pretty cool. The top, the number 1 tackler in the country, there's a tie between Ben Burke-Irvin with 155 total tackles for Washington, which you would expect. Washington's got a good team, good players, good defense. But then Malik Fountain, Central Michigan guy representing up in there. He's leading the nation also. He's tied with 155 tackles himself. So that's awesome actually to see that. Jalen Ferguson at Louisiana Tech leads the nation with 15 sacks on the year. He's kind of had that lead for a long time now, 15. They're going to play in a bowl game too, so he could very well add to that. Nate Harvey, East Carolina, he leads the nation with 24 tackles for a loss. However, he not only do they not play, he's only half a tackle for loss against number 2 guy. And then number 2 guy is a guy that is Jalen Ferguson for Louisiana Tech, who I just mentioned leading the nation with 15 sacks. So Louisiana Tech very well could have the national leader in sacks and tackles for loss both by the end of the season, after all the bowl games are said and done. And none of you guys would have known that without me. I'm just saying. So there's 2 guys that are tied for the national lead with 7 interceptions. Hamp Cheevers for Boston College and Andre Cisco for Syracuse, which is kind of funny because they just played each other. So I guess they Cisco tied it against Boston College. It's interesting. So Bryce Hall at Virginia, he's kind of had this stranglehold all year. He leads the nation with 22 passes defensed. He's 2 above the number 2 guy, and the 2 number 2 guys both at 20. Both are gonna play Fresno State and Thula Kelly. He's got 2 games left in the Mountain West Championship game and a bowl, and Tulane is bowl eligible. So with Donnie Lewis Jr., so he very well could tie it or surpass Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall will go play in a bowl game with Virginia, so he could add to it. But right now he's got the league. He's got the national lead with 22, and he's got the national lead with 20 passes broken up. So he's just fucking phenomenal defensive players. So those are my stat attacks. Watch out later. We're gonna do, we'll have short picks and previews next week, and watch all my other stuff. Peace.